Okay, yes, Caitlin, I have received the nudes that you sent me.
Oh boy, are you gonna be disappointed. I mean, these are beautiful. Not quite that beautiful. Hi, Cassie.
Hi, Caitlin.
Hi, creepy people.
Hello.
Hello. This is PNW Haunts and Homicides, where we chat about true crime, the paranormal, spooky things, witchy things, kind of whatever we're feeling. We really we really hone in on the paranormal and the true crime though. That's our safe space, which I think says a lot about our mental health.
Right. And where is our safe space? It's in the Pacific Northwest.
The PNW, if you're
If you're
nasty.
nasty.
Yes. What else do we do?
Oh, I forgot. We do tarot reading at the end of every episode for a little deeper insight into our topic.
Indeed, we do.
Was literally staring. My tarot deck is like right there, and I was like looking at it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree that it's very clear to me that your focus was elsewhere. Okay.
I was like, I was looking at it, but my brain was not remembering the things that we say. But it's because of the
Yeah.
curse light.
It's the curse.
Yeah.
It's a
So
it's the curse.
curse.
Curse. Okay. Anyway. All
Not
right.
to be confused with a famous Portland family cur.
Oh, that's correct. Yeah. No,
Like,
this
I'm
is
saying Coors in a weird, dumb way.
yeah. This is Coors as in Adolf Coors, who we covered I can't recall.
Right.
If we can remember to tag it in the show notes, we'll do that.
We might. Future Cassie? Future
Uh
Caitlin? We'll see.
Maybe I should write that down. It's not gonna be the only episode that we tag in this.
I feel like we are constantly referencing, like, other episodes. I just did it with the future episode that comes out after this, so I'm not gonna say who, but I
Yeah,
just
don't
did it
say it.
too.
Don't say it. Don't you say it.
You'll see next week. You'll see.
You'll all see. Cassie, have you ever visited the Gifford Pinchot National Forest in Washington?
No, and it doesn't even sound familiar to me.
Wow. Okay. Um, you may recall I just sent you some photos. So I'm going to
Mhm.
show you some pictures so you can see just how beautiful it is.
Okay. Caitlin, those are huge. Whoa, but they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is really pretty. Are these from your personal camera roll?
These ones are not.
Oh, okay. They look like they could be.
They yes, and I was very fortunate to stumble upon some, Pacific Northwest kind of camping blogs that they had photos. Actually, the one with the waterfall,
Yeah,
I
that's
have
so
a
pretty.
nearly identical photo in my camera roll of a
Right.
different place in Washington.
Yeah, I feel like these waterfalls are I mean, I don't know, maybe they're typical of waterfalls everywhere, but I feel like these are, like, super PNW waterfalls.
I think so as well.
Just, like, the multiple points of I don't know how to
Yeah,
describe this, but, like, the multiple points of foliage in the fall
foliage.
itself, because there's, like,
Yeah.
so many layers of rocks and things, and green moss, and
Oh,
then the water looks, like, greeny blue like a lagoon.
it's very pretty. It's
Yes.
very pretty.
And then is this, like, Mount St. Helens with the top blown off?
Mm, might be.
Is that the one that blew up?
It sure is.
Then I think that's the only one that doesn't have, like, a point, I think. I don't know, I could
Yeah,
be totally
and
wrong.
it actually I believe that geographically checks out, so
Mhm.
yeah,
Well, cool.
yeah. Yeah, as you'll find out later, I was prepared for questions, but only in relation to historical weather data. Um,
Ah, yes. I'm waiting for this.
yeah. I read a comment and I went, "Hmm, that seems to directly contradict something else I read about the weather. I should probably hyper focus on that for 30 minutes."
I mean, I probably would too.
Yeah, it turns out it wasn't unimportant to the story. So,
Okay.
do you have any idea how difficult it can be, depending on location, to find historical weather data dating back to 2013?
No, I feel like Google should just know, right?
Mhm. Yeah, Google doesn't fucking know.
Google AI, come on, you answer all my other questions.
Mhm. Yeah, Google AI was like, "Well, here's what I would do." And I was like, "I would have already done that. I thought you would give me the answer."
No.
I'm getting a
Huh,
little hung up on that. That's fine. We have a lot of ground to cover. So,
m'kay.
when I look at the falls you see in a lot of the pictures of this area, especially now that we're getting closer to spring, I think about that hilariously heartwarming prank that you and Chris pulled on me almost 2 years ago now.
Oh, yeah. Remember that?
Yeah. Remember that? Okay, TLDR, for anyone who doesn't know that backstory, I was told by Cassie and my now husband, Chris, that we were going to take some photos of the 2 of us for the pod and also for one of Cassie's episodes. She's a lying skank.
I was not wrong because we actually did an episode about the place. So we
We did,
actually
we
did
did.
need to go there.
Yeah. What actually happened was that Chris proposed whilst I was clearly confused and also scolding him for getting brand new pants dirty. Um, I,
It's gonna stain.
yeah, in many respects, one of the happiest, and also maybe in some respects, not my proudest moment. I also made some of the most bizarrely dazed faces I think humanly possible. You edited the photos, Cassie.
Mhm.
So, I think you can attest.
I can. Yes, can confirm.
Can uh-huh. If you wanna listen to that episode where Cassie tried to convince me how creepy Silver Falls was, you can go back and listen to the episode. We'll tag that in the show notes. Hopefully we do that.
Well, it did drop on, April 1st of whatever that year was.
Yes, yeah, it was indeed our April Fool's episode. Kind of a tough act to follow, I feel
Yeah,
like.
right?
Yeah,
I know. We'll see what happens this year. Maybe we'll get
I know.
spicy on you, maybe
I
we'll keep you guessing.
Who knows? Or maybe we'll just agree that April Fool's is a stupid holiday and it's not for adults. I do have more pictures for you. So hopefully the first one in this progression of photos that I've sent you um is mostly my wrist.
Yes, I noticed that.
Okay. Okay. So the first one looks like it was taken by a boomer. It's sort of the photo equivalent of a butt dial. But I can assure you that it was taken actually by me, not a boomer, famously, um, in the befuddled excitement moments after your hilarious prank.
Aw.
And then the other ones are, slightly more presentable, cute photos of us at, the falls.
With our mouths open.
Oh, of
Except for
course.
Chris. Chris is just being normal, smiling
Yeah.
normal.
Just being a person. Just being a person, peopling.
Yeah.
So,
Aw. That was
whenever
a
I
fun
see
day.
it was. Whenever I see waterfalls, you know what I'm thinking of?
TLC?
Also that, of course. Naturally. But let's get back on track.
M'kay.
If you were, say, 19 years old, what do you think a place like Gifford Pinchot National Forest represents to you? Thoughts?
Um, I don't know, like a nice place to hike?
Yeah, I feel like that's a solid guess. That's what I was looking for. Obviously, you've got the gorgeous waterfalls, and I already had my monologue about that.
Yeah,
Um, Maybe a little freedom, enjoying the natural world, camping with friends, toasting marshmallows, and maybe some drinks by the fire.
alleged drinks.
That all tracks, though, right?
Yeah, 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 totally. I was,
Yeah,
like, thinking back to what I was doing at that age, outdoorsy, and it was,
exactly.
like, hiking a little, but mostly, like, camping and drinking and yeah.
Yeah, yeah, pretty normal stuff, I think, at that age. Our story today is all about the fun and occasional folly of youth.
Mm.
As happy as I am now with everything that I've built with both of my partners in crime, both in business and in my personal life,
Me?
every once in a while, I think everyone wishes that they could turn back the clock and experience things the same way they did when they were younger. I mean, for me, number one, my metabolism. And I could really go for taking another summer off.
Yeah,
Would not
seriously.
hurt my feelings at all. Maureen Anu Kelly was born September 26th, 1993, to a single mother who raised her in Washington state. Sources actually kind of seem to differ on where exactly she grew up. Some say the Vancouver area, others Spokane. But ultimately, our story happens in a completely different location anyway, though she was a graduate of Lewis and Clark High School, notably located in Spokane. Not Spokane. Never
Cocaine.
Spokane. Fun fact, Anu was a Libra, and I share that because from what I have seen and read, it seems like kind of a fun detail that she might have actually shared about herself.
I
She
like
had
that.
sort of like a fun, kind of creative, I don't know. I mean, I feel like hippie sort of becomes like a catch all term for
Yeah,
sort of a vibe.
yeah.
But
But I feel like Libras also have, like, an energy, and we all have, like, Libra energy too, because 'cause I'm a Libra moon and you're, like, a
yep.
Libra rising or something,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and then
Yes.
Chris is Libra, so
Is a Libra.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
I
Libra
know.
vibe.
We got a lot of Libra energy up in here.
Mhm.
Yeah, makes sense, I think.
It does.
But back in 2013, Anu had a YouTube channel where she posted videos playing her
Oh.
ukulele for the uninitiated and beatboxing.
That's so cool.
Yeah, generally just being a carefree young adult. She had 302 subscribers there. Uh, I'm going to speculate that some of those subscribers are more recent.
Oh,
Um, I'd love to use this as an opening to transition into an arguably shameless plug, believe me. But as I listened to her sing as she played her uke, I read the comments. I'm not going to read from the comments section until I provide a little bit more context, but suffice to say, I was starting to come down with a case of the ick. Go on the internet and as one does, you
that's why I try
will,
to stay off the internet.
yeah. Okay, so do me a favor. If you can only do one thing, just this one time, don't worry about any of the usual calls to action that on this podcast and other fellow podcasters, the things that we're always saying, smash that subscribe button and shit like that. Instead, go to her YouTube channel because this is a face that not enough people have seen. This is clearly an incredibly kind and creative young woman with a beautiful voice to boot. She was just like anyone would be at 19, beautiful, intrepid, a young woman with so much promise. According to her half sister, Sherry Kopu, she had called just prior to an upcoming camping trip. She called me before she left, saying she was going camping with friends and asked if she could borrow some of my camping gear. She was excited about going and told me she loved me. That was totally normal for her. She was a very affectionate person. When Anu arrived the following day to pick up her gear that she intended to borrow, Sherry asked where she and her group of friends were headed. And though Maureen was a self professed nature lover, she was not an experienced camper. So their destination, the Gifford Pinchot National Forest, was a bit surprising to Sherry. She described Anu as a very laid back, carefree girl. And though she had reportedly longed to spend more time in the outdoors, her expectations were unlikely to match the harsh realities of the wilderness. Sherry said, I asked her, why now? And Maureen told me that she wanted to go on a spiritual quest. That really concerned me.
Yeah, that makes me think of, like, mushrooms or something. That's what people
Yep.
do, they go into the woods and they do shrooms and they go on their spiritual
Yep.
quest. I mean,
It's,
not just shrooms, other drugs too, but, like,
yeah, you're not the only one that is going to draw some conclusions about what that might mean.
yeah.
The group of friends headed toward the Gifford Pinchot National Forest for their campsite at the Canyon Creek campground. They drove out to Chalachi near Highway 503. From there, traveling steadily northeast, reaching Forest Service Road 54. When they start saying Forest Service Road, it's
Mhm.
fairly remote.
Yeah.
Next, they would have traveled down a series of small back roads until they reached Canyon Creek. Their total drive time would have been roughly 3 hours or so, depending on traffic. Once they found the specific area they intended as their campsite, it would have required some initial prep work to make it comfortable for their stay, as this area, both the trails and the campsites, were entirely unmaintained.
Oh, wow, okay. So this is like it is for experienced campers, it's not like a campground with a bathroom.
Correct. Definitely no facilities. Nothing crazy though, really, just clearing away debris like pine needles from items like the camp stove that they would need to use before setting up their tents and preparing their evening meal. On June 9th, all of the accounts I've read say the group was simply enjoying themselves as the afternoon began to fade into evening. The group proceeded to enjoy their surroundings, no doubt unaware that by morning they would reach a horrifying realization. One of them was missing. When Kelly had left their campsite that evening, most accounts state this was around 5 p.m. One thing everyone agreed on and parroted as loudly and frequently as possible was that she'd been as naked as the day she'd entered this world. Well, okay, almost. She was wearing a fanny pack containing a knife, matches, and a compass.
I was just thinking, like, that would be, like, what you would need if you were gonna take anything with you, I guess, in a fanny pack in the
I'm
woods, right?
Yep, those would be some, arguably critical items.
So wait, did you say that they knew she was naked when she left or they found her naked?
Nope,
They knew.
they knew she was naked.
Okay. I just wanna make sure I didn't, like, miss
No,
something.
that's a very important detail, so, uh, yeah. If at some point that if at some point that feels like it's, like, unclear, I think it's worth clarifying. So, that night, she'd been set on the idea of a spiritual quest.
Better naked.
Arguably, yeah. I mean, is this maybe the best environment for it?
Probably not. But I just
Debatable.
get it, like,
Probably
it's
not.
like shedding your
Yes.
layers and just, like, being as free as possible. I get it.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like there's a lot of this that just, it makes sense, and you're 19,
Right.
and your brain's still cooking, and so many things, and now I feel ancient, and I have
Yeah.
to move on.
Yeah, I was like, "I don't think there's anything wrong with nudity, so all you people
No.
judging."
No, no, and I don't in and of itself, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Unfortunately, turn of events, things
Yeah.
so, some reports of the events that night state that she told them that she would be back by midnight. And this, I think, based on everything I've read, is the account that I trust most. Unfortunately, however, when she didn't return by midnight, their campground and the surrounding area would have been pitch black.
Hmm.
The terrain is rough and densely forested, making it difficult to navigate even in the daylight for some. So, regardless of mounting concern, it simply would not be practical to do much in the way of searching until sunrise. While it had been a warm day and the area didn't see any precipitation leading up to, and less than a quarter of an inch in the immediate hours surrounding her disappearance, very important information. And you can trust me on this because I literally spent close to 30 minutes verifying historical weather data alone for this case. I really want everyone to know I know what the weather was. Unfortunately, the temperature overnight plummeted. There was grave concern about the various ways Anu could come to harm alone and completely exposed in the woods.
Man, yeah, naked and cold.
And I feel like you're having the emotional and sort of intellectual also response that I very much did as well. Now is when I'm going to start reading you some comments. Unfortunately, not everyone is going to have the same response to the same information that's being presented. I don't know. I guess people have to decide to do with that what they will, but I know how I felt about it, and I've already said I got a real ick. Honestly, I kind of want to just read this person's fucking handle, read their profile name because I feel like if you're going to say trash things, I feel like you said this on the internet. I
Well, I feel like you have to give them credit if you're gonna quote them, right?
right? Uh, I will not because I don't want to be sued. We've decided to use an alias for this commenter. Kobe Teeth said, guessing she was high as a kite or hammered drunk to do such a thing. Temperatures could have brought about hypothermia relatively quickly if she got lost, and there's every chance she did. The next comment goes on to say, totally agree. This seems pretty obvious to me. She might have even taken the drugs, etc., as part of the quest. It's the old cliche take peyote or whatever, wander off to meet your spiritual animal. Because real life is not the movies, instead, she meets the fate you outline. Thank goodness it was probably relatively painless.
Oh,
Shh.
god.
She might even have succumbed while imagining herself on the verge of ultimate enlightenment. For what it's worth, Under Sheriff Dave Cox said that while it was a bit unusual for a 19-year-old to leave their campsite with extremely limited supplies and completely nude, there was no indication that she was on drugs at the time of her disappearance. Maybe they just didn't find any and they didn't wanna push the subject, I don't know, um, but they're the cops, so that's a thing that they typically will do, um,
Right.
though concerning given the circumstances. Friends gave no indication that this behavior was strange for Anu or that drugs were involved, despite numerous comments to the contrary. Uh, I never really realized what a cesspool Reddit really could be. Guess I'm
Mm.
late to the party. But of course, there would be speculation. To some, it just didn't seem like it could have occurred in any other scenario than some drug laden haze.
I mean, there are a lot of different options.
I sure are. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
and I
that was, like, my first thought too, but, like, I'm not gonna go say that that happened, like, that's what
Mhm.
happened for sure.
Yeah. I would say, based on the dates, I know for a fact that these are people that are speculating on an open missing persons case.
Yeah, that's icky.
Yeah, you're icky. Search crews were dispatched to the area in the hopes of rescuing Anu quickly before she succumbed to the elements or another threat. Footprints that appeared to be a match to her were found, so they ran that lead down. They discovered that she had apparently crossed a creek and climbed up to a road on the other side of the canyon from her group's campground. I mean, that just seems like a lot of she started off when it would have still been daylight hours, so all of this is entirely plausible at this point, and she's certainly a physically capable young woman. Um, from here, it gets a little bit more murky.
It just, like, sounds like she did all that to get up to a road. It sounds like she was, like, trying to run away.
It's interesting that you should say that. Um, she had apparently been headed north toward Forest Service Road 54. Canine units from Pacific Crest search dogs were brought in as well, but her scent was lost once they reached paved roads in the area. And unfortunately, I'm going to go ahead and read to you from some more comments.
Okay. Sounds like so she got picked up by someone then obviously, right?
And it's on the nose. I'm going to read to you the next comment from the Hammer. Although the weather on the day she disappeared was mild, temperatures that night dipped into the 40s. Without any clothes, she would have quickly succumbed to exposure. And that is a direct quote from the Charlie Project.
Do you really
Par-
think the 40s would is the 40s that cold? I guess it's pretty cold, but
it's barely above freezing,
okay, yeah, I
and you're
guess.
naked.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. I know. I mean, I kind of ran through all of the scenarios, and it almost felt like I was a little bit, like, bargaining, like, "Oh, no, that can't be."
I
But
kinda just felt like the 40s aren't, like, immediate death, like, to me. Like,
right,
I feel like you could find, like, a hole and cover yourself with stuff and, like, the 40 like, I feel like you could survive that, like, it's not like, it's dangerous for sure.
right,
So I
right.
could see that. I was just, like, wanting to know
Mhm.
how immediate is this danger?
Yeah, I mean, I think at the point that she hasn't returned the following morning and they
Yeah,
know that she has remained out in the forest overnight, I think
yeah.
that's where it becomes dangerous, but, um this comment goes on to say, paired with her footprints ending on a road, this implies she was taken or picked up. But also, is it possible she walked along the road for a while? Or is that too weird considering she was naked?
I mean, I don't think it's weird. I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's, like, not n I don't know.
I'm actually bracing myself for the next series of comments here. There is a reply to that comment specifically, and it says, "They did have to postpone the search due to weather. It's all just a strange case. I want to say she was picked up too. There's theories that maybe she joined a tribe or a cult. There's just not much info on this case at all. So it's all just so mysterious.
That feels unnecessary.
Mhm. And I feel like maybe it's a poor choice of words and or the sentence structure, but I feel like that almost feels like you are attributing, uh, sort of the same problematic, characteristics to being a part of a tribe as a cult.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting, and then also, like, if you had proof of that, like, that would be important information that they would need to go find, like,
Yep.
if she's truly missing, like, but if you don't, that's just, like, such a weird thing to waste time
And I
thinking or
get it.
saying or
This is, these are not tips that are being called into law
yeah. Yeah,
enforcement.
yeah,
These
yeah.
are, these are people speculating. I will say again with these comments, these they are during a time when the case may not be active in the sense of like they're not actively searching for her, but I will say that the case was active in a different sense. There is another reply. Anu would never have joined a cult. She was a beautiful, free spirit. Something terrible happened to my dear friend. There's no other explanation. My community
Mm.
combed the woods for years after there was never any sign of her anywhere past the footprints. Unfortunately, the group of friends she was with is who I'm suspicious of, even though they were my friends too, and I wouldn't want to think that of any of them.
Damn.
The search initially proved unsuccessful, and by the following Saturday, almost a full week, as the search was suspended at 6 p.m., there were two reported injuries on the search and rescue team, an ankle injury as well as a paw injury to one of the canine team.
No, puppy paw.
Puppy paw.
Oh. Gosh,
This
and these
for
are people who are, like, used to searching in these
Right.
areas, so if they're getting injured, damn.
I am so glad you said that because my next sentence is this further highlighted just how treacherous the area currently being searched and where Anu had seemingly vanished from really were. I mean, those are not ideal circumstances.
Did she have shoes on, or did she have shoes on?
She did not.
No shoes, just the fanny.
The reporting that I read is
Right.
literally just a fanny pack.
I guess she no one knows for sure, I mean,
Well, the local authorities were even said to have contacted search and rescue teams in neighboring areas, reportedly, even in Oregon, just in case. Sadly, eventually the search of the area was suspended without further plans to continue. Though the authorities gave no indication they suspected foul play, Anu's DNA was submitted to the National Missing Persons Database. Now, to be fair, this would prove useful for identification in the event that remains were later discovered in the area. Though her body has never been located, officials do believe it is likely that Anu succumbed to the elements, whether by hypothermia or another natural cause. Officially, her case remains unsolved. However, I have some more comments to share to provide context to discussions around her case, as well as the various unofficial theories that have emerged in the years since Anu's disappearance.
okay, I was wondering what did they do in terms of searching if, like, they lost her scent at a paved road? So, I understand that they were still, like, searching the area, but were they like, is there other places they would then search, or did they search, or did they just search the area?
Ultimately, because it's a massive national forest. They did search a lot of the area surrounding the campground, and they also reached out to other authorities in the area, and literally even in the neighboring state.
Yeah.
So I don't think that the search was necessarily inadequate, or, but I do think it presents some challenges when, they use scent dogs and then they kinda come to a dead end with that, especially based on
Yeah.
these specific circumstances.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, this is someone who it's unfortunate that they were naked only in the sense that there's not a lot for them to be able to leave behind. You can't rip off the sleeve of your t-shirt and leave it somewhere as, like, a marker,
Yeah. That is true.
which I'm sure is
Mm.
not where your head is at all at when you're, going out on a spiritual quest.
Right.
And
Yeah.
again, I think it is important to note that, this is, she said, "I'll be back before midnight," but that was fully 7 hours prior. This is, like, still very much daylight hours. Um, I feel like it kinda begs the question, like, what happened while there was still
Yeah.
light outside? And there's a lot of different potential explanations, obviously. So, theory number 1, she is no longer missing or never was. And in this instance, we're sort of citing various reasons, or it's kind of a it's multiple theories. It's like 1A, 1B, 1, you know. For reference, her last YouTube video was uploaded 2 days before her disappearance, and her Facebook account has also remained dormant. I will say that a lot of the comments did not make me feel good, but there were some, and I do believe that I have one a little bit later here that were it sort of renewed my faith in humanity for what it's worth. If she was recovered alive, the family may have kept it private because they perceived her as requiring mental health intervention. This is pure speculation, of course. I've no idea if she was suffering from mental illness or just a free spirit following her heart. But if she was recovered and required hospitalization, her family may have kept it quiet. Unfortunately, there is still a terrible stigma about mental illness, despite the strides made to normalize it in recent years. Again, I'm only speculating since we're still waiting on confirmation she was even recovered at all. I hope she was, and that she's doing well, and that she found the answers she was looking for that day. So this hints at some speculation that the family, um, people have specifically pointed to her brother as someone who may have helped her to obfuscate her own missing persons investigation. There is just next to nothing that substantiates this at all, and I can understand having the thought, and this person I do feel like at least approach this in a semi-respectful and responsible way by saying this is purely speculation. We do have some additional comments.
Okay. I was very confused by that. I don't really understand what they're trying to say.
Yeah, I think what they are implying is that, she may have been having some sort of a mental health episode, and that once she was recovered, her family has not spoken publicly to confirm or deny that she has been found, because they
Oh,
are seeking mental health treatment for her,
okay.
which is admittedly a possibility, but again, this is what happens.
That just seems, like, way out there,
It
to
is
me. I don't know.
it is, and I do feel like, some comments are approaching the situation and the discussion a little bit more respectfully and, like I said, responsibly about, I'm acknowledging that this is pure speculation, but, like, based on the information I have, maybe this is sort of my theory.
I get that.
Yeah. So some subsequent comments. Well, I hope you're right. I know I don't know her, but I wish they would let those of us who think of her know she's all right too. No personal details needed. An additional comment. I'm pretty sure if her Nameless page is still active, then she is still missing. An additional response. Not necessarily. Megan Good of the Charlie Project speaks frequently of her frustration with NamUs because they often leave up profiles well after a person has been recovered. She reaches out to them to ask that a page be taken down and generally gets no response.
Really? Is that true?
Hard to say.
I feel like you should know.
I have not seen this accusation levied frequently. Um And I can only speak to my experience of, like, what I've come across when I research, but, um, we will come back to this comment about Namus and her status in a little bit. So, related to sort of this theory of, like, she's not missing or possibly never was, anyone else think it's strange that after December of 2017, the family completely stopped posting about her? Her mother would post on her wall very often, even on holidays. Now it's nothing.
I was gonna ask, like, does her family still, like, look for her or say anything about looking for her, or
And I feel like those are questions that it's natural to have. I will say that um, I understand that impulse. But at the same time, people don't handle this type of grief um, and loss. There's no right answer.
oh, yeah, no.
One thing I did find very interesting is that they're in these groups, and I'm sure this does happen, in some of these message boards, there were more than a few people that did purport to know her and or her
Mm,
family personally, and I'm
right.
sure maybe some of these commenters do. As someone who grew up with her, her brother had addiction issues last I knew, and I think that was probably a large aspect behind his post. There's sort of an infamous post. I think it's a big nothing burger. I think it speaks to someone who's experiencing an incredibly, like, they're experiencing loss even if she is found.
Yeah.
There's nothing definitive. Essentially, what it amounts to was they created a Facebook page for, her case and for her disappearance, and, at some point, he posted, basically, "If you're looking for answers, you're not gonna find them here." And I feel like, to me, that just sounds like someone who is grappling with this immense loss and really struggling with the fact that they have no answers about their loved one.
Yeah.
I don't think that I find it the lightning rod that some other people do, on various social media platforms. Maybe they're
Yeah.
right and I'm wrong, but
I could totally see, though, how, like, in unsolved case, there's, like,
mhm,
no information, and then that, like, I could see how people jump on that.
mhm,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's sad.
This commenter goes on to say, I have questions as to why her friends let her leave naked and intoxicated. To my knowledge, they were all doing mushrooms and she just up and walked off, essentially. Easily could have been stopped. It's strange to me that her friends let her leave and that her trail dropped off at a road. That screams foul play to me. Sorry I am commenting so late. I decided to look her up today and this post showed up. And this comment is actually quite a bit more recent than many of the others.
I mean, I definitely have those same thoughts too, but, like, if you're all shrooming supposedly or, like, all intoxicated, I mean, maybe they didn't designate a babysitter, like,
It's
who knows
possible.
what everyone else if they were tripping balls, you know? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I mean, and just because the police didn't find any evidence that that was the case doesn't mean that it wasn't, but I think the fact that the that law enforcement in this case has come out and said, like, "We have not found anything to substantiate that as being an aspect of the case." Um, w where are you getting this information that everybody or
Yeah.
anyone was on any type of psychedelics?
Like, are they just assuming or, like, where can
It
we
feels very
confirm
much
like,
like there are a lot of assumptions being made.
I guess, like, they can't really give I don't know, give an anonymous confirmation, just give, like, some
Mhm.
detail that they can confirm that or something. I
Yeah.
don't know.
And unfortunately, to me, I felt like maybe I am maybe it's me and maybe I'm being too extreme, but to leap from a 19-year-old that is saying they wanna go on a spiritual quest, which admittedly, there are implications, there are things that we're all gonna sort of, like, have rolling around in the back of our heads, but to go from that to she joined a tribe or a cult.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
weird.
first of all, how racist can you be? I
Yeah.
and I think sometimes people, I don't know, maybe that person thought that there was some sort of a tribal association out there that was cultish. I really don't know. I'm not sure, but I think it feels very problematic to me to assume that, like, there is a brown person and there has to be some sort of, like, this nefarious connection to that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't
that's
know,
real
and
weird.
maybe I'm reading too much into that, but as I'm reading all of these things, I'm thinking, do they understand that she's actually not native or indigenous? She's She's Asian/Pacific Islander, according to
Right.
all of the other data out there. So do they just assume that all brown people are members of a cult? Or
A tribe? Yeah. I
again,
mean,
I'm extrapolating on things that people have said, and maybe this is me taking it like they went too far and I'm going that much further. None of this changes the facts of the case in terms of, like, this is where she went missing, this is who we're looking for, and I get that there would be interest in other details of the case, but, like, we haven't found her yet.
yeah.
So, like, maybe let's focus on that. I don't know.
I think, like, it's harmful too to imply that she, like, up and joined something or, like,
Mhm.
because then they'll
Yeah.
stop looking for her, like
I think that's a part of it to me too, is that, like, assuming that she's done something wrong. I don't think that the police are necessarily reading Reddit boards, and they're not checking through subreddits and reading YouTube comments,
Right.
hopefully in connection professionally to a case, but,
Maybe if they don't have anything, maybe they do send someone to scour the
I
internet. I
mean,
don't
we
know.
we do know that that can be an aspect of an investigation. So again, I don't know. I didn't like it. I don't like it. I'm never gonna like it. Okay, so the final in this series of comments, she wanted to go on what she called a spiritual quest and thought it to be a spiritual quest in doing so in that mind state. Also, it wasn't okay to allow her to do that alone. And I wouldn't have ever let it happen, but I moved and wasn't able to protect her. the people there that night if they let her go knowing she went, and I know they did because I heard their stories myself. And as I told them, they should let that weigh on them. They deserve it too. I'm so disgusted with anyone who would let that happen. She may have been picked up at the highway. She was the brightest energy I've ever met. There's a
Mm.
lot going on with that one.
That is it's a lot of blame. I definitely
Mhm.
understand you gotta look out for your friends, but, like, she was an
Yeah.
adult.
Yeah.
Would you can't necessarily just stop somebody from doing something they wanna do, I don't know. And she was
Yeah.
naked, what are they gonna do, put
I
their
mean,
hands all over her?
also, it's daylight hours, so at that point, that
Yeah.
maybe wasn't that alarming. I feel like there's a
Yeah.
lot of shade being thrown at the friends, and I feel like based on the scenario that they were actually in, I just don't think that it's as salacious as some of the coverage has maybe led people to believe.
That would be awful to be those friends, and if you truly didn't do anything wrong, like, how awful would you feel? And then you have people kind of thinking that maybe you had something to do with it or you are to
Right.
blame for letting her go.
I love that I'm realizing in this moment why I wanted to mention that she was a Libra. This is such Libra energy.
Yeah, seeing both sides of
Yes.
things. Yeah,
And
it is.
it's all about, like, the scales and justice, and I just was like, "Wow, how is this hitting me in real time?" As much time as I've spent researching and writing this up, how? How did that not occur to me until just now? Her social media has been quiet, but some have seen indications that her family's perceived silence in the years following her disappearance might also be an indication that they know something the public at large does not, which I feel like is a really that's it's a really tough pill to swallow that somebody could be missing and their family could be covering for them, or somebody could be classified as missing and not actually missing. Um I will say this, there were a lot of comments and I initially screenshotted several and intended to read them as part of this that were talking about her, comments that her brother had made on her missing persons page, comments specifically talking about how um, the family had stopped posting about her. And I was like, oh my God. I literally had a text all ready to go to you and to Taylin. Um, this case, it didn't have as much information out there about it as I would have liked. And I started trying to look for more information and I wanted to know what people thought about the case. Um, but I got a little bit panicked thinking, oh my gosh, like, is it possible that she's not missing? Like, is it possible that just some of this stuff hasn't been updated? I really started to worry, and here's the thing, even if that were the case, I I would rather talk about someone who I thought was missing but had been found
Yeah.
than to have their case go, like, into the cold dark night.
Oh.
But my text was going to be, to the effect of, "I am so relieved." I am, like, sad, happy, crying right now because I I mean, I went full, like, web sleuth level shit, and I don't I that's not something that I necessarily do for every case, but I wanted to know that people miss miss her, and they fucking do. They really do. If they're lying or they know something that we don't, they're doing a damn good job of keeping it under wraps, and here's hoping they have a good reason. I don't think that's the case. I really don't. And I feel like there's so many shitty things that people have said, but her brother on June 9th, 2024, missing you extra today. You're the most beautiful soul I've ever met. I'm forever grateful for you, and it hurts so bad. I can't hold you tight and tell you I love you one more time. I'm so fortunate to have these videos you've made to comfort me and remind me of everything we've ever done together. You're my best friend forever, and I hope to see you again. It's one of a couple of posts that he made about her in 2024. And unless he's scouring Reddit and thinking he's got to cover some shit up, I just I
Yeah.
I know that people can say what they think and what they feel or suspect in a case, but this one really got me. This one really got me because I just felt like everyone has been young and done things that maybe weren't the best idea. It doesn't mean that they deserved bad things to happen to them.
No, not at all. I mean, gosh, even if she was totally super fucking high and, like, went out
Right,
and, like, that still does not mean that she doesn't deserve to be looked for or
right. I just
yeah.
the fact and I don't think that there's anyone that came out and said, "Well, she was high, so nobody should be looking for her." But I feel
Right.
like what people say in so many words and the implications, like, that matters.
Yeah. It's like, well, you deserved it. Like,
Right.
you
What was
did
she wearing?
yeah. Nothing.
Kinda doesn't matter.
Doesn't actually does not matter.
Yeah. Obviously, there's the hotly debated theory that the disappearance was brought about by a psychedelic experience gone wrong, but there are some additional theories. While some have postulated that Anu's scent dropping off at the paved section of road might mean she had run off with an unknown party in a bid to flee her family and friends to find freedom. Others have speculated whether she may have been forcibly abducted from that same location instead. And while it seems far fetched, the name of at least one infamous serial killer has been mentioned in passing, if not directly in connection to her case.
No.
I think that the consensus is that this is unlikely, just given the
Okay.
remoteness of the location. Um, but I am gonna read to you some comments here.
If you say it's the Zodiac killer, I'm leaving right now.
The Zodiac didn't come up this far
I'm
north, as
kidding,
far
I'm
as I
kidding.
know. As a Washington resident, I find it more plausible that she died of something nature related than foul play. Although I recognize foul play is possible. I'm not familiar with the environs of the campground she left, but the forests are dense here. Think of how hard it was to locate many of Ridgway's victims.
Mm.
Never Bundy did, I believe, come up in an additional comment that I did not save because
Good.
hashtag never.
I was hoping you were gonna say him.
Yeah. No, unfortunately, just based on the geographic location,
Yeah,
Ridgeway would be the
that
more
makes more sense.
relevant, arguably. But
Wait, who is that for people who might not know?
which one?
Ridgeway.
Gary Ridgway,
Yeah.
arguably the most infamous serial killer in all of the United States history.
People might not know, they might be new to true crime.
That's true. That's true. And that's okay to be new. And now you know. In one of the Reddit threads that I was looking at, someone posted a link to a YouTube video, And they were insistent that the person that they saw in the video was Anu. Having watched a portion of this YouTube video, I can safely say I do not believe this person is Anu, and I sincerely hope it is not. It is someone who is uh, clearly unhoused and may or may not be experiencing mental illness and or some substance issues. The section of the comments, not necessarily related to that, but this is kind of in the same region of that block that that I'm going to read from. It starts really, who, when, and where did you see this? And then it really just takes a hard left and they go in a different direction. I can only imagine for anybody that actually knew her, even tangentially, how they would have felt. And there are purportedly multiple people that did know her that have been active in these threads. And that person who did view the video and comment and respond said, this is a hard no. This is definitely not her. It's heartbreaking to think about them opening that link and, like, in a weird way, hoping beyond hope that maybe this is her and she's safe
Yeah.
and maybe there's some sort of explanation or I can't. The hardest thing about a missing persons case has to be that you just don't have answers, and to think that you're going to get an answer, whether it's the good, bad, or the ugly, even for a minute. This is a local in the area that's commented. I want to add for people unfamiliar with the area, there is no cell phone reception and no satellite reception. Even though it was 2013, she wouldn't have been able to just call someone to pick her up in the remote woods like that. That campground is really remote and in the middle of nowhere with a bunch of wilderness areas just east and north of the creek.
That makes sense.
Yeah, Forest Service Road. And this is another one where it's potentially someone that knows her or knows of her. I know her and her brothers well, but moved to New York. She was like my little sister. I grew up with the whole family and got in trouble and stuff, even stole a car once with her brother, LOL. But she was the brightest energy you could ever imagine and a waste to the world. And if her brother knew anything at all, I don't see how he would not say anything. I don't get it. He was protective over her. And one more comment. I saw a report that human remains were found in that area in August. Testing being done. Should know soon.
What year was that?
Great question. Not going to tell you. So that is the one comment in this particular thread that hints at the latest theory. I'm about to tell you the year. I lied. From the Skamania County Sheriff's Office. On August 10th, 2024,
Damn.
a hiker recreating in the big lava bed located within the Gifford Pinchot National Forest in eastern Skamania County reported locating human remains. The hiker found a human skull and captured the GPS coordinates of the location. A deputy responded to the location the next day but was unable to locate the skull reported. The hiker volunteered to return to the area, accompanied by a Skamania County sergeant, and the skull was recovered on August 15th, 2024.
Whoa.
Based on the preliminary investigation, it is believed the remains belong to a hiker that went missing in 2013.
Mm.
The missing hiker was last observed in the big lava bed, and after numerous coordinated search efforts, was never located. The skull, along with other remains located in the area, was transported to the Clark County Medical Examiner's Office for definitive identification. This is an ongoing investigation and no risk to the public has been identified.
They only found a skull?
N I think maybe initially, but it does indicate there were other remains found.
Oh, wow, okay.
Though I could not find any indication that law enforcement has provided confirmation or even publicly speculated about the possible identity of the remains, many believe they are likely either Maureen Kelly or Christopher Zitzowitz. I didn't bring up my proposal this year just because I wanted to talk about that, or even just because it lines up with this time of year. Arguably, the discovery of the remains, that was literally within a couple of weeks of my wedding. And it's nice to
Yeah.
reminisce about like the good things that have happened in my life. I mean, getting engaged was super exciting, so much so that I butt dialed pictures of my wrist. And being a newlywed is another major milestone in my life. But it hit me when I got to a certain point in my research for this case that Anu is only a handful of years younger than us. It's not like it's the first time that I looked into a disappearance of a young woman. Obviously, for some reason, something about this case it just hit different. It just hits somehow in a specific way at a specific time, and that's how we know when we wanna talk about something. It's just there's so much there's so much to experience in life between ages 19 to 31. This September would mark her 32nd birthday,
Hmm.
and I was doing a lot of the same things that Anu did at that age, even the ones that drew her so much ire all over the internet following her disappearance. Anybody ever been to Savi's Island?
Do you remember at the very beginning of this episode when I was like, "Oh, you sent me nudes." Like, how did I know this is the that would have fit
Yeah.
so well into this
Yeah.
episode?
Oh my gosh, you guys, I have been to a beach where it is permissible to be nude.
Yeah.
What I will say is that I think how we view people, it changes based on some of the choices that they make, and then when they go missing, everything is under a microscope, but none of it makes her less missing.
Yeah.
Maureen Kelly was 19 years old at the time of her disappearance. An Asian Pacific Islander female with black hair, brown eyes, about 5 feet 7 inches tall, weighing roughly 150 to 160 pounds. And whether it's the recent remains that helped to identify and bring her home, I hope her family has answers someday soon. This is just one that I didn't know going into this that there was potentially an update.
Yeah. Wow. So they
Um,
still haven't identified it at all?
they have not released the identity of the remains. Oftentimes for remains that are recovered, when they do testing like this, um, it it can take a significant amount of time before that result is back, and then even more so before the public is made available or made aware of, the update of the results.
Damn.
Yeah, I think it's not uncommon for it to take months, sometimes, and I think honestly, based on everything that I have seen as an observer, it very possibly, very unfortunately to Okay, so we're shuffling.
Yeah, we're doing tarot for remind me her name.
Her actual name, it's, like, multi and it's long, and there's one that I couldn't necessarily, I think it's her middle name that I couldn't be confident about getting an accurate pronunciation because I believe it's, like, I think it's a Hawaiian name.
Ooh,
Um
pretty. It's probably really pretty.
yeah, but, Maureen, Anu, which I believe is kind of like what her friends and family called her,
Okay.
Kelly.
Yeah.
Um,
Anu.
yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go with this one because something when I split the deck this last time, I have drawn the King of Swords.
Oh,
When I split the deck, I just felt like I was drawn to that, and I guess we are gonna see.
okay.
Okay.
And what
Alright.
animal was on it?
It looks like a heron of some sort. I
I
might have
don't
to
have the little book.
I know, I'm gonna I'll have to refer to it. Okay, I'm gonna read the main interpretation, and then we'll take a look at the little book. Our keywords are judgment, intelligence, mental power, and communication. In some decks, the King of Swords sits on a throne wearing royal robes and a crown and brandishing a mighty battle sword. Other decks show him in military armor. In a reading, he may represent an actual person, in which case he's usually a mature man known for his intelligence, communication skills, fairness, and objectivity. The upright king represents intellectual pursuits, communication, and spiritual knowledge, and study,
A spiritual,
like a
what was
spiritual
it?
quest.
Yes, yeah.
I know, that's exactly what I was thinking. Interesting. You may be mastering a mental task or using your communication skills successfully. Sometimes this card indicates a decision, judgment, or legal matter. If the king signifies an actual person, he may seem stern, analytical, or aloof, perhaps a lawyer or judge, a professor, military leader, scientist, or religious leader.
A cult leader?
I don't I'm not picking up that vibe, but I sort of was thinking, maybe.
I just hear a lot of the word judgment too, and it just makes me think of, like,
Yeah.
the commons, like, the all of the judgment
So
from the people.
so much judgment. And I feel like just based, unfortunately, not on a lot.
Yeah. You said this is King of Swords, right?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
In a reading about money, the king upright recommends taking charge of a financial matter. Do your homework. Don't let your emotions influence a decision involving money or investments. This card may also mean profiting from an intellectual endeavor, which I assume means everyone is joining the Patreon.
It made me think of, like, what you were saying of how we don't make very good decisions when we're younger and maybe, like, more I don't know, more emotional, if that's the
Yeah.
right word, but you were saying, like, our brains aren't
Yeah.
fully developed, we're not making, like, really good decisions, so
No, I think that that is such a good point to draw though, because it's a little bit more like leading from your heart because You just don't maybe have the experience to indicate where you maybe should do otherwise.
Yeah.
If the reading is about your job, it may indicate you work in a field that requires keen intelligence, good communication, or analytical ability. The king advises you to show leadership regarding decisions or judgments. Clarity and objectivity are important.
Hmm.
That almost makes me think of like the sheriff because I don't know, I'm sort of thinking about some of the statements that they have released, and they're saying, like, it's unusual for this particular set of circumstances, but we don't have any indication that, drugs are involved. Thinking
Right.
about sort of coming from a place of objectivity.
Yeah, that does
I
make
don't
a lot of
know.
sense. Stop it.
Come do tarot with us. Do it. Oh,
She's such a piggy.
you're such a little piggy.
She's a piggy.
Such a little piggy. Oh my god, she's so cute.
No.
I just want to smush her face.
I know. She's got a really smushable face.
In a reading about love, the king symbolizes a relationship based on shared interests and ideas rather than passion. You and or your partner resist expressing deep emotions, preferring a friendly partnership. Perhaps you fear losing independence if you open your heart.
Oh. She wanted to be,
Interesting.
like, free. Didn't you say something about, like, freedom, or were
Yeah.
people speculating that she
Um, it's hard to know how much is speculation and how much people have extrapolated, even on direct quotes from people close to the situation. I will say I was correct. Um, it was a it was a blue heron.
Ooh,
Yeah.
nice.
Great blue heron. Authority born of rational thought, clarity of mind and purpose.
Hmm.
Insight, seriousness and strictness, exacting standards and truth.
Truth.
Yeah. I feel like I don't know. I feel as though there was something sort of that she was searching for. I don't think that like people have speculated that, maybe she was looking to, escape her life. Um, I don't know. I wasn't there and I don't know her, but I do think I do think there are a lot of people that would like to see this case solved.
Yeah.
And certainly all of us that are on the periphery are the least of all concerns, obviously. But um I really do hope that her family will get some answers.
Did the little book have an interpretation in it?
It well, as always, it has sort of a parable. Um, I felt like the keywords that it sort of added on to the full interpretation from our book helped a little bit. One
Yeah.
thing I did want to add because already listen, it's been a minute since I've checked our PO box. We did have some mail. Also, we had a package.
Oh.
Mhm. So I wanted to just share while we're here and, you know, um we can say hi to everybody and acknowledge receipt officially.
We got your mail.
We got it. Okay, so we have actually, I think we have a couple of Christmas cards. I did receive some messages because people did not realize that our PO box had changed. We did have our PO box forwarded um, to what degree of success remains to be seen.
Yeah.
We've got a Christmas card.
Aw.
Yeah. This was remailed to us a few weeks back. They had some issues with the forwarding from our old PO box.
Sorry.
I know, I'm so sorry.
We tried.
I know, we tried. Okay.
They did not make it easy.
So thank you, Sean and John. Your dogs are unbelievably adorable in these
Aw,
little cartoon.
puppy.
Yeah, you're gonna want to see this when we're like back in
Yeah.
person. You can see this. Oh my god. Okay, and then I don't. I'm assuming we can share this. We can message Sam to find out. But okay.
Aw, how sweet.
Okay, so you can't really see this, but on the back, he has done something that all of my Midwestern relatives have done. I presume for generations. He has written a note so that we know where he was and when.
Oh, I love that. I love when people do that because my mom would do that all the time. It's my
S-
favorite thing.
I know. I'm like, is it even a photo if you don't know where it was taken? Sam at Oregon Ghost Con 2024. And
Ooh,
he is wearing the Ghost Con hat in the photo.
that is so cool. I want
I
one.
know. I know.
We'll have to go.
I
We have to
know.
go.
I know. We gotta go. We gotta go. I know. And he, gem that he is, it is one of actually a couple of events that he has reached out to us about. And we have tried to make it to as many of them as we can in the last couple of years. Some of them, like, they sneak up on us or we have other plans. I think, I can't remember for sure why we weren't able to make it to Oregon Ghost Con this year because I know it was on my radar already. Um, it may
Yeah.
have been because some annoying bitch was getting married. I don't know.
Oh,
I can't remember.
probably.
I think it was over the summer. So I think we had a couple of different events that I was like, oh, sadly, we
Yeah.
are gonna have
Last
to
year we
opt
didn't do
out.
a lot because we
Yeah.
had things we
We
had
had
to
thing
do.
we had things to do.
Mhm. And this
Okay.
dog has a freaking opinion about everything. I'm about done.
Shh. She sure does. Okay, well, I wonder if she has any feelings about this package that we've received. Oh my gosh. So Sean and John also sent us a package, so we're gonna have to reach out to them.
Aw.
This says Witchy Cauldron.
Okay.
Okay. And it has a sticker that says, "You've always had the power, my dear. You just had to learn it for yourself."
Oh,
Which is from The Wizard of Oz.
gonna say that sounds pretty familiar.
Yeah. Couple of theater kids over here. Okay.
We just made our own musical on a Patreon bonus earlier.
Yeah, we did. Okay. Oh, The Celtic Cross, a guide to using your tarot cloth.
Oh, cool. I love those things.
Oh, it's silky on one side, but then like fuzzy on the other.
Like velvet.
Like velvet.
Like velvet. Ooh, that's so cool. Nice. We don't have a lot of experiences. Well, I don't with like spreads. So,
I mean, I use them, but I've never had like the cloth
yeah.
historically. Oh, I'm so excited about this. You know
Me
how I
too.
feel about the Celtic Cross.
And it's like easier when there's like a guide, obviously. Like,
Each of the card, like the placeholders, now it just seems like I'm like
you're
I'm giving
booming
a
it
breast
up.
exam. They're embroidered. They're embroidered. It's not just like,
Oh. Oh, cool.
Oh my
Cool, cool,
gosh. So
cool.
it's
Not
not
just, like,
just like
printed on.
laser printed or yeah, oh my gosh.
That's
This is
fancy
so fancy.
schmancy. Gah, now we gotta send them a gift.
I know. We don't deserve you.
We should do a reading for them with it.
Oh, we totally should.
I'm
Oh,
down.
can you imagine?
Zoom meeting.
Oh, okay. So this we received from our friends at Sins and Survivors. They are based in Nevada, Sean and John.
Yeah. I knew the name of the podcast. I know it didn't seem like it, but it was on the tip of my tongue.
I know
But
it's
this
one of those
dog
ones.
is driving me crazy.
No, it's one of those things where like sometimes the alliteration makes it easier and sometimes it makes you question like,
Yeah.
is that yeah.
Well,
This
I
is
always wanna say
so
Saints and Sinners because that's a bar that or it used to be, I don't know if it still is, but it was a bar
yeah.
in New Orleans,
That
and
sounds right.
it was Channing Tatum's bar,
Oh,
and I went to it
interesting.
when it was his bar in New Orleans, and I
Of
have a
course
cup
you
from
did.
it.
Mm, you
Saints and
naughty,
Sinners.
naughty girl.
We just went during the day when it was, like, just a normal, like there was, like,
Just
really
like a
nobody
bar.
there. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was I was like, I don't know, I'm kinda I would be scared to go in there when it was, like, popping because I don't know.
Yeah.
Also, I was with my mother-in-law, so that's kinda weird.
Oh, yeah. I have been dying to open this because all of the things that I did yesterday were so fucking boring. And then I went to our PO box and I saw that we had a package
Aw,
and I was like, "Oh,
that's
sure
so
could use the
exciting.
dopamine." And I was like, "Oh, don't do it. Don't do it.
You
Don't do
coulda
it. You
done
got to
it.
wait."
It's okay.
I
I
know.
will
I
forgive you.
I thought about opening it and just sending you a picture like, "Oh, whoopsies." I'm like, "Huh."
Meh.
Or just texting you and saying, "Hey, I'm gonna open this. Deal with
Yeah.
it."
If you really needed it, that's always an option.
Yeah, I was like, "Hey, listen, I went to the post office."
Right, I was thinking about that the other day.
Were you?
Yeah,
Oh,
I didn't say anything, but you were apparently picked up the vibe, so I didn't even have to.
that's so weird.
Not like I
Were
would've been like, "Hey, you should go to the PO box," but I think why I didn't say anything because I was gonna offer to, like, go on my way one
Oh,
recording, and then I was
yeah.
like, "Well, we're not even gonna be together for, like, a month, so I might." Yeah, I
Oh,
think that's why I
yeah.
didn't even say anything. But you picked up my vibe.
I did. Did you by chance also have any sort of thoughts or feelings about the Social Security office?
No.
Oh, okay. Because I also went there, so that wasn't you.
Nope, that was you. That was all you,
Okay.
baby.
So that was just my name change.
My thoughts about that are stay as far away as possible. I never want to deal actually, I had, like, what, 2 experiences with them, and it actually wasn't even that bad because
No,
I didn't have to go to the office for whatever reason, I just mailed stuff and they mailed it to me.
honestly, I went to the DMV about a month ago.
Ugh,
I went to the Social Security office.
gross.
Both
Like,
of the
why?
people that I interacted with were phenomenal. I was in and out both times in, like, record time.
That's what
I
she said.
yeah. I know, right? I jokingly had said when I went to my eye doctor's appointment, I was like, "I think I should buy a lottery ticket." Like, I don't know what's going on. This is the only thing that's gone right for me recently. I feel like maybe things are on the upswing. I don't know.
That's amazing.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was great. They were very nice. It was relatively quick compared to other experiences, and
Good.
yeah, completely hassle-free. So, I actually wrote a very nice review for the Social Security office when they texted me a
Wow.
link. I was like, "This is so weird, but I'm gonna do it because they have, like, horrible like, most people when they, like, get the follow-up, they probably just write, like,
Right.
horrible shit.
But, like, what are you gonna do? You have to have it. Like, it's not like people aren't
Yeah.
gonna go because there's bad reviews.
I know, I know. I was just like, "Oh, this person was actually so nice, and this was, like, completely painless."
Nice.
So, yeah.
Now,
Mm.
is there any other mail?
That was all we have for now.
What? You guys, send us more mail. No, I'm just kidding.
That was plenty. I am so
No, that's
excited
so
about
cool.
this.
Me too. I can't wait to come see it and touch it in person.
I know. I might have to come to you.
Yeah, that's true. You might
Yeah,
have to. We'll see. We're planning and plotting.
yeah. Should we do our thing?
Yeah, let's do it before this dog
Loses
kills
it.
me. Kills me. Who did you just put
Cows,
your
mate.
hand in front of? Did Chris just put his hand in front of the camera?
No,
He didn't?
no. Dude, I'm freaking out, okay?
Did you see that?
No? What happened?
Okay, did you do this or something? Did you do this?
I don't think so.
Okay, well,
Oh my
okay,
god.
so I don't have good service. Like you're just like kind of blurry. You've been like in and out and like glitchy, and then that's fine just cuz I know I don't have good service. But just now, it literally looked like someone just like put their hand in front of the camera like this is a joke. So I thought Chris just walked by and like did this.
No!
But it, like, glitched, so I don't know if it was just, like if it glitched and, like, zoomed in on like, if well, ho okay.
What's funny about this is I love that both of us were just like, "Ugh, Chris."
Yeah. Well, I feel like what I was seeing was just, like, your camera glitching out, and
It had to
I
have
don't know if
been.
it's gonna show it because on your like, it's gonna when it's recording, it's gonna be smooth, but
Yeah.
it was just really it
That's
literally just, like,
freaky.
looked like this, but, like, blurry and glitchy.
Oh my god, I hate that.
And it hasn't done anything like it's been you and your face will kinda glitch out and stuff, but it hadn't done this full screen, like, it looked like a blue hand. That was so
A
weird.
blue hand?
Yeah, like, I thought it was, like,
Like I'm
'cause
being
your
haunted by a
lighting
fucking avatar?
I thought it was, like, your lighting, but that wouldn't really make sense.
No. The
You
blue
guys,
lights
that
are
was
on this
so
side.
creepy. Okay, I'm gonna start video cameraing the screen.
Seriously. Do you have a
That was
TV
really
on?
weird. No. Oh, are you seeing, like, reflections? That's
Yeah,
us.
I'm trying to figure out what it okay.
That's us.
It doesn't look like us, but
It's
hi
my
me.
computer screen. Yeah. If you make a really
Okay.
big gesture, you can see it.
Should we do our thing?
Yeah, let's do it before this dog
Loses
kills
it.
me. Kills me. Who did you just put
Cows,
your
mate.
hand in front of Did Chris just put his hand in front of the camera?
No. I can't.
I guess
Wait.
I can, like, move the screen,
Maybe
like,
I can.
no.
I don't know. Anyways, that's just some of the
Ugh.
fun you can have.
Wow, that was insanely creepy. I'm gonna be thinking about that now for a really long time.
Yeah.
I gotta watch the video back then because I am curious, like, if it
Yeah.
picked anything up. Okay. Ah! Okay.
I feel like we have not had anything really all that weird happen in this apartment.
It's you're doing what you shouldn't do,
What?
renovating. You renovated.
All
You
I did
kicked
all
things up.
no, all I did was fix the door.
No,
Not even
that
the
counts as
door. Just
renovation.
just the hinges. Just the hinges.
The ghost said, "No, that they be renovating. We're
But there
we're
wasn't a ghost here before.
we're getting rowdy. It's renovation season." I see a hammer. Let's go.
Oh my god. I know. No.
Do a nice cleansing of your
Okay.
of the office.
I'm so
Dude,
uncomfortable.
you know what would be the easiest? Take your wine bell and just ring it around the office.
Okay. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna light
Sound
it.
cleansing.
Yeah. I'm gonna do all of the above.
Gotta open the windows.
Oh,
Don't
yeah.
forget the closet in the corners.
Whew. That
Mm.
closet is already haunted by everything that we've shoved in there.
Or you can do it silently with your little besom. Just use your besom
Yeah,
and be
I
silent
could
about
use my
it.
besom.
Gosh, look how dark it is now. We just started in the
I
daylight, and now it's dark.
know.
It's crazy how the sun just sets every day.
I What?
Oh my god. Have a
Have a creepy
creepy
ass
ass
day.
day. We'll see you
See you
next
next Tuesday,
Tuesday.
unless a big giant blue hand just like covers up my face forever.
Gosh. Ugh. Please be safe. We do wanna see you next Tuesday, so if you go into the woods, be safe. If you need to go on a spiritual journey, just please do it safely and with people, and
Yeah,
maybe pack some clothes just in case you get lost.
that would be good.
But also, there's nothing wrong with free balling if that's what you wanna do too.
That's for sure.